There are many expectations to be an upstanding member of society. We here at Attack of the Killer podcast say, screw that. We are the misfits that refuse to conform to society. If there was only a place where all of us weirdos can go to fit in, hidden in the shadows are towns where the ones shunned by the normal world can go to live in peace. That's right, monster communities here on this episode of Attack of the Killer podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 Yay.
Hello, all you misfits and weirdos out there, and welcome to our own personal society that we call Attack of the Killer Podcast. I am your host, Insane Mike. This is episode 264 called Monster Communities. We will be talking about films that do not have just one monster, not two monsters, not even four monsters, but a whole population of monsters, creatures, and outcasts from the normal world. What a weird topic, right? Well, you see, here at Attack of the Killer podcast, we discuss horror movies within a certain topic. And after 264 episodes, we have to really grasp at straws to get topic ideas. We are all just friends here on the show. We speak openly and freely about the movies, so no spoilers. There may be spoilers. We'll try not to. Now, if you enjoy the show and want more Attack of the Killer podcast in your life, you should become an attacker. How do you become an attacker? I'm so glad you asked.
Good question.
Go to jointheattackers.com. There you go. It's that simple.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do have to sign up for a tier that you like and support the show, but hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Because you get all kinds of great stuff, such as like bonus episodes, our video series such as video updates, Insane Mike's 1 Minute Top 10 list, killer critiques. You can get your own official membership card, certificate, and sticker. You can get shout outs on the show and website. And if you sign up for our $10 tier, I will do a drawing of you as a monster of my choice that we call Mikey's Monsters. You can also get exclusive invites to special events like our monthly horror hangout show and tell, where once a month we'll do, say, like about 30 minutes or so, group video hangout with other attackers and us here, the crew on the show. Everyone brings like about 3 items from our sweet-ass collections, like, you know, whether it be Blu-rays, action figures, whatever. And we show that off, talk about them with each other, and have a good time. So much great stuff you can get. And all you got to do is sign up at jointheattackers.com. And also, speaking of the attackers, I do want to take a quick moment and congratulate attacker Brian Godsill for getting his letter read on Joe Bob's last drive-in.
Fuck yeah. And he fell asleep. I was awake freaking out with Brian Clark.
Yeah, that's freaking amazing. Well, in fairness, I fell asleep by then too. Well, of course, it wasn't my letter, so.
And on the day that we announced he's coming to Iowa.
Yes, that's true. That's such a weird.
It was a good Joe Bob day.
Great Joe Bob. Every Joe Bob day is a great Joe Bob.
It is, and we're hitting to the finale here now.
Already?
Yep.
When is he coming to Iowa though? Better
October 15th, the week after Halloween-a-Palooza. So
right.
2 awesome weekends in a row where we all get to hang out.
Woo! Woo! Anyway, I just wanted to say congratulations to Brian. That was really, really cool. And now it's time to introduce you to our little society of misfits and monsters we call the Podcast Crew. His favorite monsters are the ones he's drinking right now. Jason, everybody.
Hey, it's so true. Cheers, everybody. So happy to be here. Thanks for tuning in and listening.
A giant lizard was destroying everything. Everyone was fleeing the city but him. He decided to stay where he was because he figured they were all doomed from the get-go. Tad.
That was a really long one for one word. Punchline. Hey guys, thanks for listening. I wouldn't if I were you.
Hey, come on.
Okay.
And no Andy.
And yes, unfortunately, no
He's
Andy
fighting
this
crime.
episode. Yeah, he's fighting crime.
That's all I can think of.
Wrangling cats.
That's probably closer.
Yeah.
Yelling at Bob.
Hey, listener. Yeah, you. The one listening while driving to work. No, not you. The one driving the orange VW bus. Have you been enjoying this season of Joe Bob?
Boy, have I.
Not you, Tad. I'm talking to the guy in the bus. Wait, what? You haven't been watching it because you don't have Shudder? You don't have the best in horror streaming services?
Shame.
After all this time, you still don't have Shudder. I can't believe it. Have I taught you nothing? Well, now is the time for all of you to get Shudder because we'll give you a month of Shudder for free. That's right, Attack of the Killer Podcast, we care. If you enter our promo code AOTKP, you can get your experience with Shudder with your first month absolutely free. Again, all you gotta do is just enter our promo code AOTKP. It's that easy. Get your Shudder on. Do it.
Don't shudder on us, though.
You trying to outpun me?
Oh, please no.
Pulling back the curtain time. So, you know who is?
This ain't the bonus episode.
You know who's been coming into my work a minimum of once a week here lately?
Oh no, who?
Who do you think when we're talking about puns?
Nick Sorek,
Yes, that's right.
the
And
Punisher himself.
Yes. And I swear he walks around my store just looking at stuff. I don't think he's shopping. He's just thinking of
Oh.
puns.
I'm sure he sits at home and he's like, I got one. I'm going to GameStop. I bet he does.
It's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, so yeah, there was that. We love all types of movies here on the show, but now it is time to find out what we've been watching besides the movies for this podcast. Here's Tad with what we watched.
Well, I know I haven't been able to catch a whole lot, but hopefully you guys have. Jason, what have you watched?
Well, not a lot recently, but I did want to talk about one I did watch. It's a really great fucking movie that only Tad seems to be correct about. But Little Joe, have you guys seen this?
Yes, thank you.
God damn, this movie's fucking awesome. And they're apparently two of my friends that I thought had okay taste in movies are just sometimes just wrong, you know? And I'm glad I finally get a chance to expose the truth. The little poor Tad was left by himself. I wasn't there to back him up, and I feel bad. And now the world needs to know that Mike and Andy were dead wrong about Little Joe. It's great.
Yeah, I'll buy you a potted flower and you can watch it grow. It'd be about the same.
Okay. Bullcrap. That movie's great. Have you guys seen Day of the Triffids or Little Shop of Horrors? Because I've also watched them recently.
Wait, which ones?
Both of those.
No, I mean which versions?
Oh, the ones we watched for the show last week.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, because I wasn't here at the last episode. But I did watch the movies. I just didn't make it there. I did get to finally catch up on Stranger Things, though.
What do
this
you mean
weekend.
by caught up? Are you
The
all through what's been
the new season?
nice?
Yeah.
I didn't know if that meant you went back and rewatched other
3 seasons? No, who does that?
My boss started it from the beginning, and he's been coming in, and he's like, "You remember?" And it's like he's like, "Man, this happened," and I'm like, "Where are you at now?" And he's
know.
telling me, and I'm like, "I don't remember that. That's crazy," because it's been fucking 5 years.
Yeah.
They're all 30 years old now. Looks like Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh,
Yeah.
but true.
Considering this season's supposed to start like less than a year from where the previous
Yeah.
season ended.
Oh, it's easy to suspend disbelief.
The Duffer said that because of that, the next season, season 5, they will actually have a several year time jump because there's just no way to
Pull
skirt
it
around
off.
it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotten so bad.
Yeah, the boys especially, like
Yeah.
the girls don't seem to age too much, but those boys, like I didn't even recognize Lucas when you first saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're young men now.
But hey,
good,
it was
though.
great.
Yeah, it's fun. I
really
don't care.
liked it.
It's still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's
love
too
it.
bad they couldn't drop it like a year earlier to help save Family Video.
Oh, I know, right?
Oh yeah,
How sad is that?
Like,
Like,
oh, Family Video goes
it-
that far back? That's awesome.
it took so long for this to come out that Family Video was in business selling Stranger Things like
Yup.
Family Video mashup
Oh.
shirts and went out of business before the season came out.
That
Like
hurts.
yeah, it
Been
does.
that- Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they started filming. I think
Internet's gone again.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Still there?
Oh, hey, hi.
It dropped again right as you started that story.
Oh, sorry.
It wasn't
Oh,
you
right
didn't do it. You can start right there if you want to say that all again.
What was I saying?
About Family Video
Oh, I was just saying.
when they started filming.
Yeah, they started filming it pre-pandemic, and then obviously things shut down, and I think they got back after. And I mean, like 2 years difference, and I'm guessing because I read Netflix spent like 30 million per episode this season.
Jesus.
There was a lot of post to do, so I remember seeing the pictures of them like at Family Video. It seems like at least a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and it's like.
Wow.
Yeah, a whole business went under while they were. But 30 million an episode. And then I watched the season. I'm like, well, there are like an hour and a half episodes. That's a
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
Same production value as a movie, so why not?
definitely.
And it's weird how it's divided. There's no rules anymore. There's only 2 episodes left mid-season. How does that make sense? And
Really?
the final episode's
Yeah.
2.5
Mid-season,
hours.
though.
Oh,
Mid-season.
wait.
But there's only it comes back July 1st with 2 new episodes, and the finale's 2.5 hours
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
of TV. Why?
Well, why? Because there's so many freaking storylines and plot threads going on in this season.
yeah,
There was like a moment. Where I'm not all the way caught up, but Brandy and I have been watching it. We've been watching like an episode about every other night, and the one we just watched last night, it started off with Winona Ryder and that other guy after the plane went down, and we're kind of like, oh, we kind of forgot about them.
you're right. Yeah,
There's so much other shit going
There's
on.
like side quests.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know during it, I'm like, man, because I am like you, Mike, nothing more exciting than the team up. So, like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
spending the whole season being like, God, I can't wait for them to get back together and kick some butt. And then I'm thinking, that's a lot of fucking people in one scene if we get them all back together.
Right, and we keep adding people. Now we
Oh.
have Eddie Munson, right?
Yeah.
And he's
He's
rad.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I like
awesome,
him,
and
yeah.
but it's like we
Yeah.
lose one and we gain 2, and it's like and then it
Paul
feels like
Reiser's still here.
right. And what's the main kid? Will, the one with the bowl cut?
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
It feels like they have no idea what to do with him.
Again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they literally Duffers had to address that they forgot his birthday because it takes place within this time period.
Yeah, the day they did kind of fuck that up. The day Brandy looked into all of that. The day that the skating rink thing happened,
Yeah.
and somebody's filming it, and they show on the camera footage the date, which is the date that they established as Will's birthday. Like, how do you fuck that up? You could
Poor
have
Will.
picked any other day out of the month.
He's got the worst haircut. His friends are like, sort of shitting on him this season.
But yet he's still like the center character, still sort of. It seems
Yeah.
like, but yeah, forgotten, and
Yeah.
it's a pretty big cast. Pretty big cast.
Yeah. How you guys feel about speaking of the new members of the cast, I can't remember his name now. The stoner pizza dude.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny. I like him, but there's only so much stoner comedy I can take.
He's very stereotypical, very
Yeah.
the token dude that works at the pizza place. Yeah, I forget his name, but he had the long hair and yeah, dude. Yeah,
So
It's funny.
there's a scene. It's the scene where they just ran from the house when those other government people came in and started shooting shit up, and they were like went out in the middle of nowhere or whatever, trying to figure out what to do, and burying the body of the other government guy, and you could see the phone number on the side of the van. Well, Brandy
oh
called
yeah,
it.
you can call it.
Yeah, and you get a message from that dude.
Surfer Boy Pizza.
Yeah.
And you can actually buy Surfer Boy Pizza at Walmart.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they have frozen Surfer Boy. And as a promo, Domino's, if you order pizza now, at least when I did like 3 weeks ago, they had the retro boxes. Like they used just the red, white, really cool red,
Oh,
white,
yep,
blue.
yep. I just got one of those last night.
Yeah.
I want to go back to a moment about talking about the family video thing. Do you think they put family video in the series because Netflix felt bad for being partially responsible for the destruction of family video in the first place?
I don't, at least in our town, Family Video didn't come around until well after like Blockbuster. Like they were the last survivors. So to me, I'm like, this is sort of weird. I don't remember Family Video being this old, but I don't think, Blockbuster wasn't either. It was always mom and pop stores.
Family video, we looked it up. Family video was established in like the late 70s.
Okay. Well, then I'm glad that that's not completely inaccurate.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I watched.
Okay, Mike, what did you watch?
Well, the reason why I kept going on and on about talking about Stranger Things, because I also have been watching. I'm not all the way caught up, but I have also been watching season 4, and I love it. It's one of those shows for me that what?
No, go ahead.
I just
have more.
I love the characters, and I love watching them, grow throughout this and their friendships, the bonds, and all that stuff. My favorite relationship out of all of the seasons, throughout all of the seasons, is Steve and Dustin.
Yeah.
And Steve is probably, I'm going to have to say, honestly, I think Steve is my all-time favorite character from the show because he has had the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest growth. Like, he's kind of stagnant now. It's like he's still doing the same thing, it feels like, from 3, but, he's still buddy-buddy with Dustin. I love that scene, because there's just so many moments in all of the seasons where just Steve seems just so annoyed all the time and is barking orders and being a dick, but then he makes that one comment about knocking Dustin's teeth back out, and Dustin's like, whoa, too far, and then so Steve apologizes and they fist bump. Just little moments like that, I freaking love it. And the fact that Steve started out as like the complete asshole preppy boy, high school preppy boy asshole, and then to have him turn around like this and be such a lovable character, that's just great writing and great acting, man.
Yeah, I like the D&D aspect of the season, sort of fun. Like pointing out the satanic panic of like people misunderstanding a board game, or misunderstanding.
Yep.
Like I sort of relate to Eddie in the sense like I was like that very much in elementary and middle school where people like he has black hair, but of course I brought it on myself. I was sort of like him where I was wanting to push people away, so I try to come off as abrasive and sort of scary and weird, and took me a while to grow into myself, but I wasn't satanic by any means, or
Yeah, well, Jason and I grew up in the middle of all that.
Oh yeah, I was big into Boy Scouts, and we played D&D all the time, and so I was in the nerdy crowd. That was me.
Did you ever get backlash from that kind of stuff, though?
Yeah, daily. School was hell, and I hated it.
Well, I just mean
Kids are terrible. What?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, kids today have
Bullied daily.
nerds today, I should say, have it lucky as far as
Yeah, they do.
they have no idea what it was like to be harassed and picked on and bullied for your interests. But I'm just saying though, the whole satanic panic thing. You ever have any deals with that?
The only deal I had with that is when I remember being 14, 15, and my grandma was having a garage sale, and I don't know how she got this T-shirt, but there was an Iron Maiden T-shirt, and Mom was like, "Fuck no, you can't wear that. That's the devil."
No, you know what? I've probably told this. I know I've
I
told
really
this
wanted
story.
that shirt.
I've told this story on First Time podcast, and I've probably told on this, and anybody listening probably, you can hit that skip 15 seconds a couple times. But in elementary school, I wore a Marilyn Manson shirt, the Antichrist Superstar album cover, and the principal like called me into the office and was like, "You need to turn that inside out." And my mom worked at the school, and I was like, "Can I talk to my mom?" They're like, "Sure." So they called my mom to the office, and my mom was like, "If he turns his inside out, every kid wearing a church camp shirt today has to turn theirs inside
Go,
out."
Mom.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And she's like, it doesn't have any swear words on it. It's just a different religion. Like, and you can't pick and choose which religions could be represented
yeah,
at school.
Mom.
And so they were like, "All right, wear your shirt." And then
Wore it every week.
no, I didn't get that. No, I wore other provocative
again,
shirts.
Mom.
My trick in middle school every year was to sneak in a really offensive T-shirt for pictures. That was sort of
Yep,
my fun thing. So I wore, like, sixth grade, I think I wore the Generation X Suck It shirt. Then I remember wearing my brother's remember the Make 7 Up Yours shirts. Make 7 up yours on the back. Yeah, I wore that to
jeez.
school. They had me do that. I had a lot of skateboard shirts that were very provocative, like anime girls on them. But the one that I sort of tricked my mom into buying me was a White Zombie shirt, and it had like Rob Zombie'd always do these really cool illustrations. He did the hallucination scene from Beavis and Butthead Do America. Really good artist. A lot of people don't know, but he drew this really cool, wicked like devil on this shirt, and it had White Zombie sort of look like it was written in blood. And my mom was like, "Fine, whatever." She didn't look at the back where it said 666 motherfucker. And of course, that one was not one I was brave enough to wear to school. But I remember wearing it to friends and stuff, and it was like, "Dude, you can't wear that to our house." I'm like, what's your mom gonna kick me out? That kind of thing. So, I definitely was very, very much like that, where I wanted to portray an image, and yeah, that's it.
Sorry to go back, Mike, but
Yeah.
Stranger Things, until you started talking, I forgot that I fucking hated this season.
What you're hating this season so
yeah,
far?
I do.
Oh no.
Not really, but yes, because like it seems like the first 17 episodes, it's all about fucking Elle like not catching a goddamn break, and nobody's believing her, and she keeps getting shit on, and I fucking hated it. And it just kept going for every episode was just like, well, here's Elle just getting fucked over again, and nobody believes her, and I hated it. It was like so much.
I know her storyline so far has definitely fallen
pissing
into
me
what
off.
you don't like.
Yeah.
To see
So,
movies.
I mean,
and
I'm
stuff.
kidding. It was great and I love it, but man, that wasn't fun. I
I
really didn't like that at all.
I think that's tough to watch, and the whole trying to rescue a character who's in another country. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, but
yeah.
it just seems so far fetched. I mean, yeah,
it's not to expect reality-based decisions in this pretend show about monsters in an alternate universe is crazy for us to expect.
but even on those standards,
But Jesus Christ, there's so many fucking that wouldn't have happened in a million years, and that wouldn't have happened. How are they letting this? I mean, I know they got to get the parents out of there so the kids can do their thing. I get that, but
Yeah, and I was worried about that from the start too, Tad, with the storyline, the storyline you're talking about. Like, how are they going to, bring this person?
no,
Yeah, and
you're gonna find them in Russia. Okay,
yeah, and yeah, but
the series of events leading up to it is just like holy shit, like
yeah.
just a string of events that could never, one thing is unbelievable, and it's like a dozen of them
Yep.
in a row.
Yep.
And they survive a plane or a train or a plane
The plane
accident.
crash,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like all this shit just to even find them, to get there, to get and everything, to take out all the guards, just a
Yep.
million things had to go exactly right to get them where they do, and it's just sort of like I shouldn't question it. It's a show
Yep,
about kids on
totally.
bikes and aliens, whatever.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again,
the
I even question the kid story, and I don't know how far. I know, Mike, you're not done, so I won't
No,
not spoil.
yeah.
But there's another thing that's sort of like, I'm like, are you shitting me? This like these kids. If it seems like what's Dustin like? He's very 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 good at figuring everything out very easily. I'm like, Jesus, this kid should not be, he should be working for NASA or something. He can figure out other dimensions so easily without guessing. I think this is what's happening. Oh, perfect, man. But then they spend another 20 minutes with another villain type character explaining exactly like a 20-minute unbroken dialogue about what's happening. We're like, yeah, we know, dude. Like, you don't have to say it out loud. Sometimes the Duffers treat us like we're idiots, like they don't trust their audience, and then other times it's like, just I don't know, but it's fine. It's bingeable,
But
fun
it's
TV.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
it is
bingeable, fun
good.
TV.
It's still fun. I still love the characters. Still invested. Yeah, maybe
totally.
the writing isn't as strong as previous seasons. It definitely maybe has the we got to go bigger and better. We got to go bigger and bolder.
I like the big bad with his
sequel
fucking
mentality.
tentacle
Oh, yeah.
shit. Oh man,
Yeah, he's
that's
cool.
fucking cool.
I mean, it's really cool that they were like, if we're not going to have a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, let's just take that plot and make it a TV show.
Pretty much.
And it's the worst fucking cursed town of all time. Never get near. Jesus Christ, just move, guys. Come on.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
Anyways,
What else you been
what was
watching,
it?
that's
40
fine. We
minutes
keep going
later.
because I honestly don't have a whole lot either. I kind of had to pull one out of the hat that I had watched a little further back, but just didn't bring it up on a previous episode. But I watched The Runaways for the first time.
Yay!
It was great.
The one about the rock girls?
Yeah, about the band. Yeah,
Heck yeah.
Love 'em.
it was great.
Good movie.
And I freaking love.
Kristen Stewart is awesome.
Well, she was awesome. Yes, I will totally give you. Kristen Stewart did a great job. Yeah, but my favorite was, what is his name? The guy who plays the manager. What's that actor's name? Thought you'd know. Off the top
I
of
haven't
your head.
seen it in
Fine.
so long.
That's fine. But I loved him in the movie. He was just that like just the right amount of like super dick asshole, but you still know he cares about these girls.
Is it Michael Shannon?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, fucking Michael Shannon's awesome.
And
I-
yeah,
So
just
awesome.
I
the
forgot
actor
that.
and-
Oh, looking at this cast, I forgot Scout Taylor Compton plays Lita Ford. This
Yeah.
is a killer cast. Dakota Fanning, Kristen Stewart, Aaliyah Shawkat, who played Maybe. You know, she's awesome.
Yeah, great movie. Anyway, that's really about all I've watched.
Wonder what Tad's been watching.
I wonder.
Oh, of course, Joe Bob. He showed The Baby. Holy shit, guys! This is a like this. I cannot believe, and sometimes I wonder about Joe Bob's fan base. They're complaining about the baby.
What? They
Have you
complained about the baby? The
oh,
baby's
ever-
awesome.
They were turning out. You know what? The baby doesn't. Even if you don't think it's awesome, you're watching Joe Bob Briggs at the last drive-in. This is a drive-in movie. This is the epitome of drive-in movie. This is what Joe Bob exists for, guys. Like,
I don't know why anybody, if anybody truly understands what Joe Bob is all about, they would not be complaining about the baby. I don't get that at all.
I'm like watching.
posers.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm like, this is the quintessential. This has everything. This movie was made for the last drive-in. Like, not and he does some mainstream. Does some mainstream stuff, and people they're like, I want to see him do this, and this, and I'm like, you've seen those, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I love when he introduces new things. I've heard about this movie forever. It's been on my watch list, but to see it with him and have him talk about how it was made, just. This is quintessential. Like, to me, this is like just a perfect Joe Bob movie and a blast watching it. Also went back and checked out. He showed Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, which was a lot of fun.
Was that
Another-
the same? Was that the same episode as the baby? I can't remember.
I believe so.
Because lately that's why I don't bring them up on what I watched, but anymore because I usually work till close on Friday, so I'll get home and catch maybe like about half of the first movie, and then it's like, well, I gotta work tomorrow, so
Yeah.
I haven't really gotten even through the second movie this season at all. So
and then he showed I think it's called Freak Maker, and also the Mutations.
And the Mutations.
That was really cool.
That was just this past one. Yeah.
Yeah, Donald Pleasance movie I hadn't seen, which is always awesome.
Another one that's like perfect for the last drive-in.
Right. Yeah. And to me, this season has been, and maybe it's just because it's new and fresh in my mind, but it just seems like it's been the best. Like he's getting into like the weird deep cuts. He's not. Everybody, it's funny. He does the clues every week, and people guess, and they have no idea. He did the Stepfather and the Mutations, and people guessed the Stepfather, but they didn't guess Freak Maker because it's like he argued that the connection to Father's Day was that Donald Pleasance has like 4 kids, and I love Joe Bob for that because he throws everybody off, and they're like, "Well, yeah, almost every actor in a movie has kids as a dad." Well, Joe Bob's like, "I don't care. That's my connection. We're doing this," and it's just you can tell he like loves this kind of stuff,
Oh yeah.
and it's just it's so cool to me. It's like this is what it's about, man. Learning, discovering new movies. That's why I grew up discovering movies through him. So I've mostly just been watching that. I caught up on The Boys completely, so that's
Oh, yeah,
great.
me
Oh, I
too.
still need to do that.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
And that's, I mean, other than Snake Alley Shorts, that's what I've been watching. So I give myself a break every Friday to watch Joe Bob, and then usually work while I'm doing it. But that's sort of been my break and getting out of work mode for a little bit to relax, and I love it. I'm sad to see this season come into a close, but happy to know we'll be seeing him soon.
Yay.
And again, when I was watching live and he's like, got a letter here from Brian from Galesburg, and I'm like in the group chat, like, I think he's reading God's, and of course me and Brian Clark are the only two that are awake at 1 a.m. And we had people staying over, and like someone was in the basement sleeping, and people in the next room. So I'm watching it with like the lowest volume I can, because Nikki's sleeping on the couch, and I start to turn it up to get a video of it, and she like wakes up and she's like, "Turn it down." I'm like, "But they're reading Brian's letter." I'm like about to get a divorce to make sure to get a recording of Brian's letter. But it's just it's like it's just part of that community. It's so cool. Like our friend, Attacker Brian, who's on, leaves a voicemail every message. He's had his freaking mail read on the last drive-in, and 90% of people do not care, but we are so excited.
Yes, very, very excited. So awesome. All right, cool. Well, thank you, Tad.
Thank you.
You bet. So we here at Attack of the Killer podcast, we ask the deep, important questions. Then you guys get to vote on who's right. Here's Jason with pole position.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of pole position.
We are the Secret Force. Hey, so let's take a quick look back to previous pole position, so we can let Brian Clark know who won, since he won't Twitter. And from episode 262, the question was, what are the best horror movie fan theories? You guys remember yours? Good, I'll tell you. Insane Mike's was Signs, Aliens or Demons. I love that one. Blair Witch Didn't Kill Heather. Ooh, Jason said Childs is the Thing. And the Necronomicon is responsible for Jason, Freddy, and Ash. Tad says same Sam Loomis in Psycho and Halloween. And that Michael Myers is Tethered. And Andy says Jigsaw is Kevin McAllister. And Jack Torrance is a test subject for MK Ultra. Oh, guys, these results.
I don't even think I want to know.
I saw him.
Well, I mean, we'll get the obvious out of the way with 8% in last place. It's Andy.
Hey, that's the highest he's had in all.
That might be true.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then 2 people tied for second and third. And 1 person ran away with it. And that person was me.
Congratulations.
58%. Ted and Mike got 17%.
My theories were awesome.
They
what
were.
the hell?
I knew mine were not. I was not feeling great about mine.
I assume it's the Necronomicon one that did it for me, but I don't.
Hey, you deserved it this time, buddy.
I got one.
I personally, the one I wanted was the one Andy took, so I'm
Yeah,
probably that 8% that voted for him. But
that's true. All right. Well, let's get on to today's episode of Pole Position. The question is, what is the best monster species? I think I put an H in there. Shouldn't been. But this is we're said broad, very broad in general, not specific. The species are the general as we could about which monster is the best. We're gonna do a snake draft, 2 rounds. Let's do a quick sequence generating.
Tad's
Words.
first.
I know. So Mike's 1, I'm 2, Tad's 3. Here we go. And we got Tad, Jason, Mike. Tad gets to go first and 6th. Jason gets to go 2nd and 5th. And Mike 3rd and 4th. All right, Tad, you're up first. First pick.
Now, we discussed a little bit, again, we
Uh-huh.
just keep pulling on this curtain. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, we will.
I think this is a species. I'm going with gremlins. Is that a species?
Yeah, I'll count it.
It's its own species,
Yeah.
coming from the Mogwai.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
consider it
absolutely.
a species, and there's different, there's stripe and brain, and I mean, there's different variations within the gremlin. So I'm going with gremlins.
That's a good one.
Oh, boy. This is tough. What will make it back to me? What crazy shit is Mike going to pick? I'm going to go big, guys. Go big or go home, they say. I think this encompasses all the giant things. I'm going kaiju.
God damn it.
That's right. I win.
Well, you know what? Brian Clark doesn't even have Twitter, so
Well, see,
I know. But I
that-
get Godzill's vote.
I
I'm
had a
hoping.
whole speech prepared where I was going to be like, this is going to be my soapbox of getting Brian Clark on Twitter by picking kaiju. That was the whole reason why I was going to pick kaiju, just to get Brian Clark on Twitter.
I can actually send him links to Twitter that you can't. So I'll do that for sure. Thanks for the idea, Mike. But you're up
Damn it.
next. Pick 3 and 4. You get the next 2 picks.
I don't want to pick any.
I'll go next then.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll go with going back to the bonus episode. I'm going to go with Gilman.
So I have underwater creature. Is that
Yeah,
that
however
okay?
you want to phrase it, I guess. I just lump it as Gilman, I guess.
Gilman.
Gilmans?
And
Okay.
then I'll go for the votes, and I'll pick werewolves.
Ooh, I'm so glad you did that. Feel like you're pandering to the girlfriend a little bit on that.
Yeah,
but,
probably.
and that's why I'm going to win with my next pick. Oh my god, I can't believe you left this one for me. It's the biggest monster genre in horror.
I know where you're going, and it's actually
zombie.
yeah, it is actually number 1 on my list, but I decided since I can't have kaiju,
I'm taking this
It's
whole
okay.
thing.
No, zombie. It's a weak pick, man.
Oh sure, nobody watches zombie movies.
Not anymore. Not since Walking Dead drove him into the ground.
Oh,
I mean, they finally killed the living dead. Jesus
Well, what
Christ.
do you got that's better?
Gorilla wolf motherfuckers. Now hear me out. These are the creatures from Attack the Block, one of my favorite films of all time. But I know this would fall under the Alien banner, but I feel like Alien is like huge. Like
it's
so
pretty broad.
So broad. I mean, Alien's literally
Too
just
broad.
anything, that we don't know. Like anything, like almost anything. So are you guys, can I go with that, or should I pick something that's more of an actual species?
No, I'm cool with it.
Because I just like gorilla wolf motherfuckers. They never explain what they really are, where they came from, how they came to be here. They're just the coolest design.
Yeah.
Pitch black with neon blue teeth. They fall from the sky. I love them. So,
Oh, they're super cool.
it's very cool.
Is that how you want it listed, though?
Yes,
think he
gorilla
wants-
wolf motherfuckers.
Yeah. Twitter will flag us and kick us off the internet, but we'll put it
Worth
in there.
it. I mean, it's
Worth it.
better than what Andy,
Yes, it is
his
better than Andy's.
favorite Taylor Swift song. So
So true. All right, well, that's going to do it for this one. Everybody get your butts over to Twitter, including you, Brian Clark, and vote for who you
I'm
think.
winning this week.
We'll see about that. I got a lot of accounts, and vote for who picked the best
knew it.
monster species. And that's pole position.
Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome, Mike.
It's movie time.
Heck
It's time
yeah.
to talk about these monster communities or societies or worlds, however you want to phrase it. And hopefully, if you're still confused by this topic, the movies will help make more sense, or maybe confuse you even more. Let's find out. Jason, what's our first movie?
Oh, man, kicking it off so good with a movie I love so much. It's from 1990. It's Nightbreed.
Who's buried in Midian?
Ain't nothing but dead folk.
Somewhere, hidden from sight, closer than you might think, is a place that's not on any map. Midian.
Something's breeding there.
It looks a lot like hell, but they call it home.
There goes the neighborhood.
They're not pretty. They're not neighborly.
You'll come back now. You hear?
They're not even human. But this time, they're the good guys. From the imagination of Clive Barker comes Nightbreed.
You can't go down there.
They have only one enemy. A beast called Man, sworn to destroy the Nightbreed.
Sounds like we're going head to head with the devil himself.
And only one chance. A man called Boone.
It's time to fight! Go get 'em, boys! I'll kill you all! What chance have we got? They're armed. So am I.
Out of your deepest fears and your darkest fantasies, Clive Barker brings you a startling new breed of adventure. I won't let you down. Nightbreed. At last, the night has a hero.
Outstanding.
So when I picked that trailer, I'm like, crap, he says the narrator talks through the whole thing. I'm like, do I even need to read anything? But I'll read what I have anyway. But Aaron Boone is haunted by terrifying nightmares of a city of monsters. He goes to see a psychiatrist, Dr. Decker, for help, played by David Cronenberg. But what Boone doesn't know is that Decker is really a serial killer. Decker frames Boone to take the fall for his murders, and Boone is killed by the police. But Boone is brought back to life by the monsters of his dreams, the Nightbreed, who in turn join Boone in his quest to stop Decker from killing again. Written, directed, Clive Barker. Oh, yeah. And Craig Schaefer, big star of this one. Like I said, David Cronenberg plays the big bad in this, and he's fucking awesome.
He's awesome.
I really loved him in this from the very beginning, and I mean he plays it real soft. I don't know how else to say it, but like man, his voice is just perfect for a fucking bad dude. I just love his voice. I knew it, but like one of the big stars of this movie, I think, is the score by Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
It makes just as he does with every movie. He takes it to another level of awesome. I'm really I love this movie from the minute it came out. I love the monster aspect of it. It was such a great universe. Clive obviously creates some of the craziest and weirdest and just bizarre ass worlds, and I always loved this one. And I'm curious. They just a couple years ago. He got to release a director's cut, the Cabal cut. And I personally, I love that version a lot, and we watched that version for this. I assume you guys did.
Yeah. That was, yeah.
And I don't know if it was the first time you got to, but I'm super curious on what you guys thought of this director's cut. I think is, I mean, besides fleshing out the story, really filling in some holes and things. We get like 1 million more monsters in this version. I don't know if you noticed that, but
Well,
a million.
that was gonna be my question, because this was the first time I've seen the director's cut, and this is the first time I've seen the movie in general since probably, like the 90s. So I have no frame of reference on what's different.
My
with
heart
the
stopped for a
director's cut.
second when you said, and it's the first time I've
I
seen
know.
it. I'm like, are we gonna get a confession? Like,
Oh, I know. Now he's never liked this movie.
Well,
Did
my
you go-
confession is back then I didn't really like the movie, so never really had interest to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, when I came up with this weirdo topic, this was one of the main reasons to finally watch the director's cut. And I think all horror fans go through certain phases, and I definitely went through in my younger years a snobby phase. And I've always been a guy who's like, oh,
What?
something's mainstream.
Movie
It
snob?
sucks, but
Twin Peaks.
so I back then was not a Clive Barker fan, but that has changed over the years, and so it was definitely past due to rewatch it.
Is it because he signed your?
Exactly, yeah,
Insane Angel.
exactly why. It's like he knew he didn't like me back then, so I'm
He's
going to sign
rubbing it
this
in.
wrong. Yeah.
He's like, I know what you think about my movies.
But I appreciate this movie a lot more. It's definitely fun, and the concept of like a hidden world of monsters is always fun, always awesome, and
Yeah.
love getting to see it. So there are more monsters in this.
A million more.
Because I loved those moments. That's my favorite stuff. Like anytime that,
It looks like this movie was made in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the 3D makeup class. It's like everybody gets a monster in this movie. Let's start designing.
yeah.
Like everybody got a turn.
And all of that stuff is great. I wish we spent more time in that world and not in the real world in this
Oh, yeah.
movie. But and then yes, David Cronenberg and I said it the other night when we watched it. I'm like, his killer look
Oh, and the fucking mask
is like
So cool.
one of the coolest looking
yeah.
serial killer slasher killer outlooks in a movie that unfortunately we only got one movie of. Would love to have seen another movie with that character and that look.
100% the coolest looking fucking bad guys ever.
Yeah, and like I wonder, this more in jest than anything else, but do you think Neil Gaiman borrowed from this when he wrote Coraline? Just those button eyes on the mask are freaking so cool and evil looking.
Or like a little bit like The Strangers.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I could see that too a little bit. I have a few confessions. I mean,
Oh.
not a first time watch, not even a first time watch of the director's cut, but I was like a late bloomer to this. I probably watched this in the mid 2000s for the first time. It was one of those ones that it was like when I was starting to build up a physical media collection, I got this on DVD, and it was, okay, it's pretty cool. And rewatching the director's cut for the second time, I, like Mike, do not know what is different. But of course, I've only probably between the two of them have only seen it maybe 5 times. But my biggest confession is, until watching it this time, I put 2 and 2 together and realized that Decker was David Cronenberg. I'm like, I know that guy, I've seen him in things, and you know what's sort of sad is like my brain clicked this time because I'm like, that's the dude from Jason X, fucking David Cronenberg. Oh, okay, yeah, you fucking idiot. Like, I'm an idiot. Like, it's like, what do you do?
That's all right.
Yeah, but I'm like, what? God, they're somewhere. Brian Clark's screaming because I realized I recognize David Cronenberg from Jason X. You can kick me off the show now forever. Take my
Writing
horror
that
card
down for
away.
sure.
Yeah, take my horror card away. But no, I sort of it's very 90s,
Yeah.
and that's what sort of hurts it for me. But it has, you can tell that this is like Clive Barker doing his thing, which is really cool. Like he's sort of more obviously known as more of a writer, and his directing is sometimes, you know, people are question his directing, but I think, you know, when you give him, like, he's doing his own material and he gets to sort of have fun. And I like the way you word it. Like, it seems like, you know, they went into like a makeup school and like everybody gets to have a fun monster. There's a moonhead guy and there's a horn guy, and it's like, you know, it's fun to like just see these characters. You could watch this on mute and still sort of have fun just looking at the monsters in that world. To be honest, and this might be a movie that comes up in shout outs or honorable mentions, but one that was pivotal to my horror upbringing growing up, and it feels like an adult version of that, a grown up version, is Little Monsters.
I knew it.
Right, and
this
this, I mean, this feels like, you know, if he grew up and like the monster world is actually dark and you can die and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there's some scary stuff in Little Monsters, but it's a lot more innocent than this. But I also feel like this isn't, in some ways, sometimes. I mean, we know Clive Barker. He's probably most well known for Hellraiser, when there's ripping flesh from hooks and disgusting stuff. And this is a little more bright and in the light, and, you know, not as sexual, I guess, in some ways. And I don't know. To me, it has some really cool, neat stuff. It's not my favorite by any means, but it's a really cool something to rewatch every couple of years. And as far as Monster Societies, I mean, this is the perfect fit, right? So,
Yep.
I'm glad you came around to it, though. Like, I probably, the first time I saw it, I had something in my mind, just knowing Clive Barker from, like, Hellraiser, and I watched it, and I'm like, not quite the same, but I can see where he's, you know, his storytelling shines through, but it didn't really do it for me the first time, and I've grown to like it a little bit more over time.
Yeah, that's definitely me. Yeah, I didn't like it at all the first time, but this viewing was much. And I don't know, again, there could be reasons based on the cut that was released back then and the director's cut that made it better. I also agree with you on the 90s thing. It does feel very 90s, which does kind of hurt it. But again, the monsters are definitely a lot of fun. My favorite designs of the monsters are the ones where they tried to really stray from normal human anatomy. Like, there's the one, like, oversized thing where it's like head is almost like in its stomach area or whatever. And that's the ones I really like, because otherwise, you know, a lot of times it's just like, oh, you know,
it's a human with a weird head.
There's a human with some
makeup on.
With some makeup on, yeah.
Yeah, my confession was just going to be, I mean, I don't have a list of all the things that are different. I feel like the story is just cleaner and filled out a little better. Not as quite. I mean, the first version is tight as shit, but this one just gives more of the world, a little more of the story. But like, my only thing is like this time watching it again, I love the movie a lot, but the 90s is definitely the part that it gets in the way. I don't know. It's just not. Sometimes the 90s vibe helps, but really I don't know if it does in this one. But that's
I remember this had like a huge lore around the Cabal cut.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, on the internet, it was like rumors that existed and that some people had seen it and that Clive had it. And, you know, then I think he started doing some theatrical screenings at festivals, and it was like, holy shit, guys, this will, you know, it's going to come to Blu-ray. And, you know, and then eventually it did. And I think I don't remember if it was Arrow or someone put out a special edition. And then, you know, now we're so spoiled, we just hit Shudder and it's like just sitting on there, you know. But I just remember the lore about this. And it's just cool, like, looking back at other films that we've lost, you know, like the uncut Friday 13th. We'll never have those intact because the footage is shit, you know, or ruined. And it's like, I'm so glad that whether you love this or not, film restoration is important, and I'm glad that this footage existed, and it's not like Silent Night, Deadly Night, where it goes to like grainy shit quality when it goes to the director's cut stuff. Like, this was well preserved. Clive got to make his cut of it. Whether you like it or not, it exists, and he got to do what he wanted with it. So that's cool in my book.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the film. All film should be restored and all the elements kept in in good condition and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nightbreed.
Nightbreed. All right. Well, I'm gonna talk about the next movie. It's from
Do it.
from 2014. It is Digging Up the Marrow.
In every society, there are the deviants, the ones who are pure evil.
We've been shooting this documentary.
Love to roll.
Take one.
100 yards beneath the surface of the earth exists a metropolis that mirrors ours in very many respects. I call it the Marrow.
William Decker claims that he's found monsters.
I'd see their shapes moving through the woods.
Is he crazy? Is he mentally ill? Is it all a hoax?
You believe this? You're a believer.
What if this guy's conspiracy theories are all true?
Please don't get hurt.
It's right up there, the entrance to the Marrow.
Okay, did you see anything?
Oh, God, he's right here in front of us now.
I don't see it. Turn it on. Turn on the light. No. Turn on the light if it's here. I want to see it. Turn off that light. Turn on the light.
You're too blind to see what's going on around you. Well, you're gonna see. You're gonna see.
Are you kidding me?
You should just go. I warned you! I warned you! Some of them were dangerous!
Mr. Decker! Just tell me the truth about one single thing.
They know we found them. Stay away!
A documentary exploring genre-based monster art takes an odd turn when the filmmakers are contacted by a man who claims he can prove that monsters are indeed real. Digging Up the Marrow, it's written, directed, and starring Adam Green. Also stars Ray Weiss, which is awesome. Love Ray Weiss. Does fall into the found footage category, but it uses the found footage as a storytelling technique instead of trying to be like real footage. I mean, when you cast a well-known actor like Ray Weiss as another person, it's obviously not gonna trick you into thinking that it's real footage or anything. So I really appreciate that this is a movie that is within that found footage genre, but doesn't forcibly go out of its way to convince you that it's real, which a lot of times can take away from the telling of the story in and of itself, where the story and the characters come first, and the found footage thing is just a device to tell the story. I love this movie. I've seen it dozens of times. I'm an Adam Green fan. I really am.
I think we all are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I've always really enjoyed this movie. It's definitely very, very Adam Green. The horror stuff is got some good jump moments and some good scares. His creatures are super cool. I just wish we would see them more. Again, being in the found footage genre, they keep things in the shadows or very quick shots of things and not get full scopes, which is a bummer because this whole project was spawned out of Adam Green getting a fan letter from I can't remember. I think it actually maybe the guy's name was William Decker. I don't remember. And it had all this art from this guy of this, like, basically this whole world and universe that he created where monsters are real and they live underground in their own little community and society. And it just really inspired Adam. Like and I've seen a lot of the art. Well, you can see a lot of the art. They use actually a lot of the
Party.
Oh, okay, thank you, Alex Party. They used a lot of his art in the films. You get to see some of the beautiful drawings that he did. And so this was what inspired Adam to make the movie, was this guy's art and the whole mythology and and world that this artist created around it. And so some really cool monster creations, and you don't get to see them very much. But it doesn't ruin the movie by any regards. Just, my eye candy brain just wants to see more cool monsters.
Yeah, but it's better for it. I hate to argue with
Well,
you, but
you're right.
I think so too.
1,000,000%.
You're right. I'm just saying. I'm openly admitting this is just, the little comic book child brain in me wanting to see cool monsters. But yeah, and I love how independent it feels. It's really about only 3 or 4 people in the entire movie, other than some
Cameos,
some cameos,
name dropping,
some stolen footage he filmed at freaking horror conventions and stuff with some other celebrities, which is great stuff. I love the scene where he's talking to Mick Garris, and I can't remember who else was in that scene, and they're talking about and the whole William Decker thing gets brought up and how
he's crazy.
He's crazy, and then it comes to light that William Decker, like Adam Green, was not the first choice.
He's like the last choice, yeah.
So
he went to everybody else first.
Yeah. So
was it Joe Dante? I don't think he. No. Who else is in that? There's some great horror cameos.
Was it Landis? No, I don't think it was Landis.
It's Fright Night director.
Oh yeah, Tom Holland, which
Okay,
makes sense because Tom Holland was also in Hatchet 2, so they already have a working relationship together. So yeah, yeah, I love it. Love
Jason,
it, love
do
it.
you want to go first? Or you want me to go?
I'm going first.
Go for it.
I fucking love this movie.
Woo, good.
Yeah, this is great. I loved it. I loved it then. I love it now. I love the faux documentary-ness of it. It's like fun, good writing. I'm glad he got to do that. It's great seeing the place and all his friends and the Aeroscope team and getting to play parts. I'm happy for them to get to be in a movie too. It's a great thing for that. But then when every single time the monsters are on the screen, it's fucking scary. Like, I don't care.
The scene where the one jumps on the car and the one's right in front of the headlights and everything. Yeah.
Every scene there's a monster that you see, it is a scary scene. And it's awesome. They do a great job of it. Just downright fucking scary. And so the whole point of the movie is great as far as what it does to you is like, do you believe this guy or not? They ask the question through the whole movie a lot. Do you believe this guy? Do you believe in monsters? And you're with Adam. You want to believe, and you don't you? And it's just a great fun ride of figuring this out and just being there with him. I love it. I love this movie.
Yeah, I love this too. I love that Adam Green has a signature feel. Even it's like across, like Frozen is a very like serious sort of suspenseful horror with not a lot of joy to it, not tongue in cheek at all, very mean spirited. Then you have the Hatchet movies that are very fun. They're brutal, but they have a lot of comedy in them, and they're homages to the movies he grew up loving. And then we have this, which is completely different, but they all sort of feel cohesive in that Adam Greenness, like that independent feel to them. He's always sort of had that relationship with his fans as well, where it's like he's one of us, he's a fan too. And I, funny enough, had been an Alex Party fan before he did this movie. So when I heard that those two were teaming up to make something, I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. I think I discovered Alex through this really weird piece he did, which was like a watercolor of Steve Urkel with like vampire looking teeth. And it's like a really cool watercolor. But he's created, I have a few of his shirts actually. I have a really cool shirt of a watercolor painting he did of Sam from Trick or Treat. And I just love the idea of like I've always loved Alex's art on Monsters, and then how it went from that to making this fake documentary. And I love the independent spirit of not showing these monsters, because we know with his budget, if you would have shown too much, it probably really would have ruined the illusion. Because I imagine it would be nearly impossible to take that artwork that's sort of crazy watercolors and turn those monsters into physical form. So just giving us a glimpse, it's very much in the vein of watching Ghost Hunter shows, but not as hokey, I guess you would say. But Ray Wise is awesome because he plays it completely straight, and he's a very good actor. And to an actor of his caliber in this sells it. It's like Adam's not he will probably say the same thing. He's not a great actor, and then he has his cameos and stuff. And this is on Ray Wise's shoulders the whole time. Like, this movie relies on him, and he brings it. And it's just a really cool concept. Stands out on its own, and it's really compact. There's no like drag at all. It's really cool. It's a really cool idea. I'm big fan of this one. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend. Love it. Check it out.
I will say though, I thought Adam did a good job in his performance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying.
Especially in those scenes where he's kind of fed up with Ray Wise's character, and they kind of are at each other's throats. I mean, it's probably, and I think he's even probably confessed this, that when you're working with a really good actor, and they help pull performances out of you, and I think Ray probably pulled some real emotion out of Adam in those scenes. But yeah, I mean, when Adam's just all pissed off and they're yelling at each other back and forth, those are really good moments, I think, for Adam.
Yeah, I don't want to even do any nitpicking, but it's like, and maybe this is a good thing, maybe the little signatures is like, he always has to, whether it's Holliston or whatever, it's like, we're gonna get some weird cameo from Kane Hodder and some other veteran horror actor, but he did squeeze the Kane Hodder one. Did not feel forced, where it was like, how do we move this along? Bring in a non-believer who thinks this footage is too good to be true. Like, this is complete bullshit. You made this up. And I really like that part. When we start to go down the rabbit hole, and, Ray Wise is getting pissed because he finds out they put up these cameras and lights and all this stuff, and put up that like street lamp and stuff. And it's just, it's a cool little tight, compact, fun. It's like a movie that you I don't know. It's like a popcorn flick for me. I had to be in the right mood to watch Frozen, his winter horror movie. Like, that's heavy. That's heavy shit. That is torturous. This one is, while it has some jump scares and some pretty terrifying stuff in it, it's definitely more of a popcorn flick for me. So
yeah, I agree with that. Again, I really love the almost guerrilla style filmmaking aspect of this. I love the idea of, for example, when they're shooting at the airport and stuff, Adam and Will are actually they're really flying to like a convention to promote the second season of Holliston. So they're like, well, we're here, we should film scenes for digging up the marrow, and I love that stuff. I love, like, let's make the best use of our time.
I mean, yeah, you guys can relate to that. Like, you've probably been there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A lot of our indie filmmaker friends, that's exactly what they do. Is like, I don't have to get you probably have a permit. I'm at a convention surrounded by all these legendary directors. Let's get a scene with them. I have the camera. Let's get some footage.
I remember us always being torn with one thing, though, Mike.
What's that?
Ray Wise, who is fucking awesome in this movie. He's amazing and great. But every moment up until he's introduced, I think we just thought if there was a no-name actor there, they could have really played this as a real documentary.
Sure.
Where the second we see Ray Wise, we're like, oh, this is really just a scripted thing pretending to be this thing. So there was always like, I wonder if...
But I don't think Adam never intended to go that route with this movie, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of it too is like, if Adam Green is starring in this movie as the documentarian who ends up something bad happening to him at the end, then we definitely know it's not real, right? So again, I go back to what I said in the beginning of like using the found footage as a storytelling device and not just trying to convince us that it's real footage. I think maybe what you're kind of saying too is that those scarier moments could be maybe even scarier if we are put into the situation more. And when found footage movies try to make us believe that this is real footage, that helps us put it into it, and maybe Ray Wise being there takes us out of it a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. I can agree. I can see that, and I can agree with that. But still, love it. Still a great movie.
Before we move on, I've done some more research on Nightbreed. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's great.
We were saying a lot of things, and there's actually 4 different cuts of this movie.
Oh,
there's the original theatrical, and then there's the director's cut, which we watched, which has 45 new minutes of footage. Only 20. It's only 20 minutes longer than the original cut. So they took stuff out. And then there's the Cabal cut, which is almost 2.5 hours long. And I have seen that one because the extra footage in that's not fully processed.
Oh.
You can tell when it's new footage.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, ooh, that's ugly, or that's grainy, or that doesn't look like the rest. And that's 2.5 hours. And then he releases a ultimate Cabal cut, which is...
What is this, Blade Runner?
199. It's almost 3 hours long. It's over 3 hours long. With everything. I don't think I've seen that yet. But, so, yes, we watched the director's cut.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize there was a difference between the Cabal cut.
I started to wonder that as we were talking. I'm like, I better look just to.
And now that you mention it, at no point when we watched it on Shudder did it say anywhere that it's the Cabal cut. And I remember when they came out with the Cabal cut, it was always called the Cabal cut. The Cabal cut.
Yep. And now you'll see it on DVDs and Blu-rays. It'll say the director's cut. So
interesting.
Which is everyone likes that version. It seems like because it just smooths out the story. But
with the Cabal directors, so people are liking the directors better than the Cabal.
I don't know. Probably for its fully finished feel, with a better story than the sort of theatrical.
Well, and I think too, there's the mentality of like, hey, if it's the director's cut, then we are getting the true director's vision.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just like I always wish they would they would allow a director's cut of Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
But anyway, I just wanted to clear some of that up.
Awesome, thank you for adding to that. Because when we're watching a different version of it, it's nice to have some more of that clarity. And anyway, so Tad, what's our next movie we're going to talk about?
Our next movie is the Great Yokai War, a.k.a. Yokai Monsters, Demon, I don't know.
Spook Warfare.
Spook Warfare.
I forgot to mention it's two minutes of music because none of us know Japanese, so this version was better than a bunch of Japanese. Back to the music.
Okay, that trailer explains about as just about as much as I'm going to be able to explain.
Yes.
When a Babylonian vampire comes to old Japan, an army of Japanese demons and ghosts gather and battle him. Apparently, I'm thinking this is from what my little bit of googling. This is part of a sort of franchise of yokai monsters movies.
It was a trilogy back in the late 60s.
Okay, this one was from '68. Was it the one in the middle?
It's the middle one. I wanted really bad to start with the first one because then that way maybe things would be explained. But I was also under the assumption. Well, I was also under the assumption that these movies stand alone, so I felt better about picking this one. And then after watching it, and I'm like, oh, the guys are going to be so confused.
If nothing else, this is a wild ride to watch. It definitely gave me, this is something, that makes me think of the movies I play at my my birthday gathering. God so will like this one. I know Brian Clark. We could probably bring him in Joe Bob style right now, and he could teach us the history of these films.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say a disclaimer real quick, and then I'll let you finish, Ted. I'm sorry.
No,
but
you're
this
good.
Disclaimer, like Brian, if you're listening, you should not be driving because I know there's going to be lots of moments you're going to be yelling at us for not knowing stuff, because I'm going to refer in my review of this. I'm going to refer to a lot of the different monsters and not knowing any of their names, and you're going to be sitting there as like that one's called.
Correct. I mean, we have the duck guy. We have long neck lady. We have Hey Arnold with the football head.
It was good.
I do know the duck. The duck one is a Gappa. That's the only. That's the
it's
only
Howard.
one I know.
Howard the duck.
Oh my.
I cannot tell you. I mean, literally reading that line when a Babylonian vampire, I don't remember a vampire, comes to old Japan, an army of Japanese demons and ghosts gather and battle him. I've already said that line, and I'm just reading it out loud again to see if it brings anything back to me after watching this. It's visually, I mean, I had to bring Nikki in the room. She was like doing laundry in the other room. I'm like, you got to see this lady with a long neck. She's like killing someone with her neck.
She's like, this is homework for the podcast. And she's
yeah.
like,
I'm like, yeah, this is why I watch these movies by myself. I mean, again, we've been pulling the curtain so much we probably ripped it off by now, but this was not Mike's first choice for the third movie. This was a replacement for one that we had already watched, and maybe if we did a part 2, replace it with Little Monsters. I don't know, but I'm not mad about it. It's not a bad movie. Like it's not one where I'm angry that you picked it. I just I don't know what I watched it. I think I don't know what happened in it. But visually it's cool. The monsters are very unique.
Yes.
It does not feel like they went to a makeup school and said, make up your own monster. It looks like a fucking fever dream. It looks like someone took mushrooms and created these guys. Or maybe elementary kids took crayons and drew them on paper and someone created them as real monsters.
Seems possible.
Yeah, so I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this one, because I'm sure you watched it and completely understood it, right?
I actually did.
You followed it?
When you read that, I'm like, yeah, that's what I saw. And
okay.
I mean, I wasn't prepared for the vampire part, but like I got that right away. I'm like, oh well.
Well, yeah, he starts biting.
Biting necks and the cursed one returns with the big giant head and starts attacking this family and turning them into bad dudes. And then all the spirits that live around the house are like, I don't like these guys are being bad dudes. Let's fight the evil spirit and get our dudes back. And so they band together and try to fight off the bad dudes. And I kind of really liked it a lot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love old Japanese stuff. I really enjoy kung fu movies. So like, I'm totally anything from old Japan, I sure don't
kinda
mind
era,
it. I
yeah.
sure don't mind it at all. And I thought so. Like the fever dream part of it, I'm like, yeah, they're crazy over there. I mean that nicely, but it was just great seeing them all just battling and fighting. And see, I don't remember how it ends. I don't know if I fell asleep or not, but I don't know if it matters.
You couldn't remember what was a dream and what was a movie.
That's that too, maybe.
Mystics in Bali. I very felt like, spiritually, these movies could be a good double feature.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because as outrageous as the creature is in Mystics of Bali, and as weird as the monsters in this movie, they are all based on actual lore of their respective countries, and I think that might help too to understand that,
Right.
in watching these yokai movies, that they're all based on, where in the United States we have like werewolves and vampires and zombies. In Japan they have like an umbrella with a face on it. That's one of their ancient monsters, and I dare either of you to go down the rabbit hole. Just look up like a yokai monster or yokais on like Wikipedia or something, and like a list of different yokai creatures, and read about them. They are some of the weirdest, but I also think coolest, like monsters out of any culture, because like there's like one, it's not featured in these movies, but there's like one monster that goes around and cleans bathrooms. That's its lore, It's like, they've got some just really weird stuff, and I love it. And you get a lot of that in these yokai movies, and pretty simple premise, like Jason was saying. Like, there's a bad guy, and then there's a bad guy monster taking over the human
Starts
community.
yep.
So the good guy monsters come in. It's very, very comic book superhero plot line, right? I love the monsters. Yes, it's very.
Oh yeah.
And it's not like super awesome effects or anything, but they're just cool looking. I love the umbrella one is one of my favorites.
The one-legged umbrella.
Yeah, the one-legged wearing a sandal. I love that one, and I love how too, like they all have you get to see highlights of some of their own unique abilities. Like you see somebody gliding down, like when the vampire guy goes all kaiju towards the end of the movie, and like all of the freaking monsters show up and try to battle this guy, and one of the other yokais, I can't remember which one, is gliding down from high up above using the umbrella guy as he's opened up, and that's just cool. You got the long neck lady, who I think is the creepiest of all the yokais, and I love how they do her effects. I love how they, you'll see like the body and the neck goes around, and just at the right moment at the end of the neck, there's like a pole in the way where the real lady could be hidden behind it and sticking her head out. That shit's just cool. And she uses her superpower of super stretchy neck to try to stop the vampire guy. They all just have their little, the Gappa spits water at the.
This is the original Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it totally is. And I think that's why I like it, because I can easily make correlations to like superhero comics, but it's just all just like really just outrageous and weird monsters. I wish we could have. I had only ever seen the first one, which is called 100 Monsters or something like that, I think. Yokai Monsters, 100 Monsters. That one, it says it came out in the same year as this one, so that's interesting. But I freaking loved that one. I wish I still had my DVD of it. But I had never seen the other two. This one and the other one, the third one, which is, what's it called?
Yokai Monsters, what the fuck?
Yep, that's it.
It's part 4.
Those were both streaming on YouTube, but the third one didn't have subtitles, so that's why I picked this one.
Yeah, because that really helped.
And then in the 2000s, in the 2000 teens, Takashi Miike made some yokai movies, and I really wanted to pick one of those.
Yeah,
but can't find those streaming for free anywhere either. So I went with this one, and I loved it too. Super weird, but fun. Well, that's why it's fun, because it's weird. So, but you still had fun watching it, Tad, right? Even though you didn't
absolutely,
understand what was going on?
Yeah.
He's like, Nikki, come here. That means good.
Right. Like I said, it's there's times where you just pick downright bad movies. This is not a bad movie. It's like I don't have to understand it to enjoy the hell out of what's happening. I mean, I was sending you guys pictures as I'm watching it. Like, Andy, you're missing out on this, dude. Like,
yeah.
There's a duck guy fighting a fucking platypus woman. I don't know. It's just like I don't know what's happening, but it's weird and it feels like I'm having a fever dream. So, yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Just looking at this poster is like fucking cool. With them all gathered.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are the movies, folks. That is it for the topic. Hopefully you understand the topic now. Probably not. But we're going to take a break. And when we come back, it'll be segments time here on the show. You're going to hear a promo during the break here of our podcast network called the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, or the PFPN. Now, with our 31st podcast on the network, the I Like It Spooky podcast.
Finally.
Featuring attacker and Last Drive-In letter writer Brian Godsill. I Like It Spooky. Definitely want to welcome them to the podcast network. It's your go-to podcast for anything horror related, where they always keep it spooky. Horror movie reviews, news, and so much more. So check them out and all the shows at thepfpn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
And we are back. So it's segments time here on Attack of the Killer podcast, and we're going to start off like we always do, hearing from you guys, the listeners. Here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for
Shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, we asked, what are your favorite horror movies involving monster societies? And we got one reply. And a lot of people saying, what's that mean? But we got Brian Clark, of course.
Yay, he knew.
Yeah, he says, the 3 Showa-era yokai films from there's like 4 vowels in a row. D-A-I-E-I. How are you supposed to say that?
He'll tell us later.
Are excellent, as is the 2005 one by Takashi Miike. I haven't had a chance to see the new one from last year, so the verdict is still out. He says the first Kibakichi about a Ronin werewolf protecting a town of yokai from a warlord with a Gatling gun is also awesome.
Yes,
but the second one,
amazing.
the second one kind of blows. And that's it. Nothing on Twitter or Instagram or none of that. But oh, looky there! Somebody just called in. What's this?
Hey, attackers! Brian here for my bi-weekly phone call. And Jason's got me a little confused. I guess everybody on the podcast has me a little confused because I'm not sure what monster societies are. But I've heard of this society where if you're sleeping on Friday night and Joe Bob's reading your letter on the last drive-in, you wake up and you have a bunch of messages from other attackers and other people on the podcast network. Hope you guys have a great week. Take care. Bye.
Oh, yeah. He told me, he's like, everyone I know is so fucking tired of hearing me talk about my letter being read on Joe Bob. I'm like, no, dude.
Well, we
So
love
awesome.
it.
Yes.
We're just as excited as you are, man.
Absolutely. And you too can get your voicemail on the show. It's not too late, so give us a call at 415-952-6857 or 415-95-AOTKP. Leave us that voicemail and get on the show, and that is shout-outs. But one more segment to go. It's time for Insane's Picks. I was just stalling to get to the button. Here we go.
Okay, so I've been thinking eventually, I'm not there yet, but closing the doors on the Hall of Fame for a while.
Oh.
I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I didn't get some of the big ones in there, which I've avoided this whole time, just because, like, how can you do some of the big ones in such a short little segment, and they're also the most obvious ones, stuff like that, but they have to be inducted. So there's still more Hall of Fames to come, and might be stretched out for a while because some of the big ones on my list may be 2-parters, 3-parters, who knows, just based on their filmography and their history and their contribution to the world of Insane's Picks. But I just want to give you guys a heads up because I have an idea on where to take Insane's Picks next after the Hall of Fame, and I'm kind of excited about it. Before any of all of that, this guy we're going to induct this time, though. He's an actor, a director, producer, rockabilly singer, trash film historian, and wrestling manager and promoter. I know him best for his contribution to my favorite music video label from the 80s, Rhino Records.
Mm-hmm.
So for this Insane's Picks Hall of Fame, we induct the legend, Johnny Legend. Johnny Legend has truly done it all and then some. Johnny's vast career spans over 4 decades. He was born Martin Marluz on October 3rd, 1949 in San Fernando, California. Despite Johnny's vast obsessions, his first love was country music. And as a fan, he would practice Hank Williams songs in his bedroom and watched Ernest Tubb on television. Johnny Legend formed the folk rock group Seeds of Time and first started establishing his outrageous rock and roll wildman persona in 1966. By 1970, Johnny began playing 50s rock and roll songs with the band Blue Midnight. He recorded numerous songs for Ronnie Weiser's Rollin' Rock Records and fronted the band Rollin' Rock Rebels in the 70s. In 1977, Johnny Legend co-wrote and produced 2 popular novelty songs. He co-wrote and produced the popular novelty song "Pencil Neck Geek" for wrestler Fred Blassie. That same year, his crude porno comedy "Teenage Cruisers" was released. In 1983, Johnny co-wrote and co-directed the offbeat comedy feature "My Breakfast with Blassie," featuring Fred Blassie and legendary avant-garde comic Andy Kaufman. In the 1990s, Legend promoted wrestling matches and managed various wrestlers. In 1995, he founded the Incredibly Strange Wrestling Federation. Now, I know what you're all saying. Music, wrestling, it's all awesome and great and stuff, but what does Johnny Legend have to do with Insane's Picks movies? Johnny is a massive film historian, especially of the weird and strange stuff, basically that fits right into Insane's Picks type of cinema. The first time I became aware of Johnny Legend was on the BBC show Incredibly Strange Film Show, where Legend was on an episode about Mexican wrestling movies, where he shared all of his amazing Santo and other Mexican wrestling movie knowledge. This vast knowledge in trash cinema led to producing and or directing many documentary and compilation videos released on the Rhino label throughout the 80s, such as Sleazomania, Sleazomania Strikes Back, Sleazomania 3, The Good and Bad and the Sleazy,
Sounds good.
Sleazomania on Parade, The Rhino Guide to Safe Sex, Dopomania, Bela Lugosi, A Vampire's Scrapbook, TV Turkeys, The World's Worst Television Shows, and Battle of the Bomb. All of which I remember seeing in the Rhino Records catalog and wanting to own all of them. And someday I will. Johnny Legend played an instrumental role in rediscovering and re-releasing countless obscure cartoons, low-budget horror flicks, and groovy exploitation pictures that otherwise might have been vanished into oblivion. Now, as an actor, and we may know him best, the mark that he made on such cult films as The Cat That Ate the Parakeet in 1972, Star Slammers from 1986, Bride of the Reanimator in 1990, Severed Ties, and Hell Roller, which I have a feeling we're gonna have to do on the show, in 1992. It's a slasher film where the slasher is in a wheelchair. Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest in 1995, Bug Buster in 1998, 2001 Maniacs in 2005, and was even in the biopic about his good friend Andy Kaufman, Man on the Moon, in 1999. So, for this Insane Picks Hall of Fame, we induct a man who is a legend in wrestling, a legend in trash cinema, a legend in rockabilly music, and also a legend in his name. We induct Johnny Legend. All right, folks, that is it for another episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. Woo!
Did it.
That was a good one. It was fun.
Miss you, Andy.
We do miss Andy, though. It wasn't quite the same.
Speak for yourself. Just kidding. We love and miss you, Andy.
We do.
You probably
really
would have. I'd love to hear his take on Yokai Monsters.
Oh, yeah. Yes. He should still watch the movies like Jason did when he missed the last
bonus
episode.
video. He gets to give his comments.
Good call. His review.
Yeah, maybe we should make us all. We should all do that. Like anytime we miss an episode, we have to do our reviews as a video bonus.
I like it.
Yep.
Good call. Anyway, whatever. Thanks for listening. Thanks to the attackers out there for being an attacker and supporting the show. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. And until next time, we'll talk to you on the next episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Wow.